All right, everyone, and welcome back to another video for the class. This one's going to be covering the discussion boards. This can sound a little convoluted at first, and so I want to make sure I made a video to cover it. In case there were questions, I'm going to try to head those off the best I can. This is actually a new format for myself, and so maybe a little bit of trial and error on both sides. But I think that overall it's going to be a lot better. The former model was I gave 15 discussion board questions, one a week, one per chapter, and each discussion board had multiple questions to answer. And I got a lot of questions about it. A lot of people got really nervous about making sure they got all the content correct. And it didn't always feel as practical, right? And the things that have always felt the most beneficial in this class are the things that feel the most practical, the most tied to reality. And the former discussion board wasn't as much that, unfortunately. So I've changed the way I'm going to do the discussion board. Hopefully, it is for the best, but that is soon to be found out, I guess. I'm going to do a screen share and we are going to look at this together. And I opened myself up for feedback that may come later, but hopefully this is good overall. So right now I'm actually just looking at the syllabus, which we breezed past this in the other syllabus video. But now I'm going to come back and I'm going to look at the discussion boards. And I'm actually going to read this line by line to get us started. Because there's a lot of information in this one little area. So discussion boards, first you'll see 6 posts total, 20 points each for 120 points total. I kind of lay this out here because when you start looking at this mess down here, it feels like there's a lot. Overall, it's not that much individual work. So, but it'll still be enough to get us through the whole class. So the class will be divided into 2 groups. Group assignment will be found on Blackboard under groups. Let me kind of jump over and look at that real quick. If you jump over here to groups, you should see group 1 and group 2. Because I'm in student preview mode, you are not seeing this, and it's probably for the best because this is being uploaded on YouTube anyways, to be dropped back into Blackboard, so we don't want our names floating around everywhere. But if for some reason I don't understand Blackboard the way that I think that I do, you do not see your group assignment in here, someone please let me know as soon as humanly possible, and I'll do a screenshot of the 2 groups assignments, and I will drop them into an announcement as soon as possible. With that said, you'll find you're either in group 1 or group 2 is how that's going to be laid out. Okay. All right. So group members will alternate weeks regarding who is responsible for posting during that week. Students will create an original post one week, and the other students will respond to that post the following week. The responsibility will then flip in that the opposite group will post for the next week, and the first will respond the following week. The points will be weighty for this assignment compared to other discussion boards from similar classes due to the spaced out timing of responsibility. So, for example, in former classes, each discussion board every week was like 8 points. And so now I'm making it worth 20 points because you're really only going to be posting about every other week is kind of how it shakes out, depending on how the schedule works for a particular group. Okay. So the flow will be such that the first group will post a relevant article, website, YouTube clip, social media post, etc., that relates to an idea, topic, program, policy, etc., that has been previously covered in the class. So this is really broad, and I'm leaving it that way on purpose. I could say within a given window, I could say within the first however many chapters, but I want you guys to build real world connections to this material. And if you're in week 14 and you find something that's relevant to from week 3, I want to know about it. If you're in week 10 and you find something relevant to week 10, awesome, do that. But I want to see you bridge the connection. And I leave it up to you as to what that means. So I said, article, website, YouTube clip, social media post, whatever. It could be something else completely unrelated to that. It could be a book. It could be, gosh, I don't know. Sky's the limit as to what that might. Maybe there's a board game, for example, that covers a social welfare or social policy or something like that, that you stumble across. I ran across one similar in storage a couple of years back when I was working in Trio that was about financing, and like navigating loans. So you never know where you're going to find this stuff, right? But post the thing, and after you post it, and you may have to get creative how you do that. Usually with discussion boards, there's kind of like a little plus icon that allows you to add different kinds of formats. So try your best to get it linked however makes the most sense for the thing. And after you do that, you'll then write an approximate 300-word explanation as to why and how that posting is relevant. The following week, the other group will respond to any of the previous week's posts with their own 300-word response that provides reflective feedback. We'll see some sample ideas, or we'll talk about some sample ideas rather, of what or how to respond to those posts. Okay, remember the following week, the onus switches and the second group will post, while the first group will respond the following week. Your original posts and responses are due by Sunday, 11:59 of your respective week. So here's a sample schedule. You'll see the detailed schedule on the course calendar. The first couple of weeks, you don't have any post for this. Week 2, you actually do have a post where you're just choosing your timeline assignment topic. But for the graded posts, here's how it's going to shake out. So by the end of week 4, group 1 is going to make an original post. Group 5, or in week 5, group 2 will respond to that. And then the very next week, group 2 will be going again, except they'll be posting an original post. And then week 7, group 1 will be responding to group 2's post. And then it reverses and group 1 will post the original post. So sometimes it'll feel like you're doing a lot all at once because you'll go back to back where you're having to respond and submit. And other times it's going to feel like you're going quite a while without having to do anything. But everyone experiences that same ebb and flow. There's not really a benefit or downside of being in either group. Just kind of depends on how you look at each individual one. Essentially, we're going through 3 cycles, though, which is how this is going to shake out to 3 original posts and 3 responses. And unlike other discussion board posts where I'm having you jump over like a bunch of different things, respond to 2 or 3 different people and whatever, I just want you to choose one person. You can look at as many as you want to, and I encourage you to do that so you can feel like you have some a good choice as to who or what you want to talk about. I do encourage you to spread the love, but if there's 2 people submitting to the same one, 3 people submitting the same one, that's okay. But I want to see some diversity in what's being posted. I want to see some creativity in what's being posted. I want to see thoughtfulness in what's being responded to. Because again, with those other posts, those other discussion boards, what I used to see a lot of is, wow, Jamie, that's awesome. I never thought about that before. Wow, that's super good insight. I agree. And it doesn't really get you anywhere. Now, if you have 1 or 2 sentences as a kind of a formality, that's fine. But that's why I'm putting the kind of 300-word guide on there, is the fact that I want you to have a fleshed out response. I want you to have some thoughtful feedback. And you're going to find that you're going to find some of your coolest, most relevant, eye-opening content is probably not going to come from the book. And it probably won't come from me. Maybe it will, but it may come from some of these discussion boards that force you to tie in the real world connections. All right. So let me jump back here to the Blackboard site. Let me jump to the discussion board area. And actually, before I do that, let me jump to the calendar area. Because on the calendar, if you look on the syllabus, you'll see exactly how it shakes out. So group 1 posts at the end of week 4, group 2 posts at the end of week 5. So if you want to know exactly how it shakes out, go to the calendar, okay? Go to the calendar. If there are no discussion board posts due to a given week, it will mention it on there. I make sure that everyone stops before we hit finals week, and I don't have anyone going over the Thanksgiving break. But so make sure that you're checking out when your specific group is supposed to be posting. Okay, back to the discussion board. So I have dropped in a more thorough explanation into here from where we were. The first part is kind of pulled from the syllabus. And then here is where I said, here's what the general flow looks like. So let's say, for example, Joe from group 1 posts a historic YouTube clip discussing trickle-down economics during the Reagan administration, which is something that we'll cover in chapter 9, and then writes a 300-word explanation regarding its relevance. Okay, so that's going to be due on Sunday of that week. And then the next week, Sam responds by the Sunday of his week to a group one posting from the former week. In this case, he chooses Joe's post. He'll write his own 300-word reflective response as a reply on Joe's discussion board. This could include new insights, further connective ideas, constructive feedback. And so essentially, group one's going to go, they're going to post whatever. The second week, the second group's going to go and they are going to choose someone's topic from the former week and reply to their discussion board and provide that reflective feedback. Okay. Maybe they see a connection to the content, to the class, to the material that the other person didn't see, or maybe they can like bolster that connection or whatever. But we want to see that constructive feedback. Okay. So, and I just put on here as a reminder that the due dates will be listed on the course calendar. I usually like to tie the due dates to the discussion boards themselves, so you see it kind of pop up as a reminder. Can't really do that because it's going to be kind of bouncing back and forth, and it's hard for me to tie multiple due dates to a single assignment. So it's going to get a little confusing that way. So you guys will have to stay on top of it based off of the schedule or based on the course calendar. But like I said, overall, 6 total posts. And you'll see on here, group one will post. This is kind of round 1 of 3. It's what I called it to help make it make sense. The original due is by 9/18. The response from group 2 is response is due on 9/25. Group 2 will post. Original due 10/2, response due 10/9. Group 1 will post. This is round 2 of 3. Original due 10/16. The response from the other group 10/23. Group 2 will post, right? So this is round 2 of 3, 10/30, response to 11/6. So you kind of see that how we go through those 3 different cycles. So I couldn't give the exact due dates tied to the assignment, but I tried to write it in the title to try to take away that guesswork. Now I know it seems a little bit confusing. I think it's going to be really cool. Just an example when you come in here of how this is going to work. You're going to come in, you're going to create a thread. You're going to give whatever your topic is. And here's what I said, that the discussion boards usually have some flexibility in what you can add. If you click on the plus sign here, you're going to get options where you can insert from local files. So maybe it's a screenshot, maybe it's a PDF that you downloaded, whatever, a Flickr photo, YouTube video, SlideShare presentation. You can pull stuff like that. Sometimes with their the message boards, you could just do a copy paste. Like for example, you might be able to throw a GIF in here. You can throw in hyperlinks to different websites. That's pretty common. If you're struggling to connect something back, you can always use the insert edit link. So you can always say like, oh, check out this Instagram reel, and you can actually highlight that and link it. And then you can drop the URL in there if you want to, or you can just drop the hyperlink straight in. But don't forget that even those who make the original post, you have to write a 300-word explanation as to what, why, how does it matter, right? And then your other group will respond with their own feedback as well. Okay, so I understand that probably sounds a little bit confusing. I get that. But my honest hope is that this will build connections that that we could probably do more naturally in an in-person class. But now I'm kind of putting the onus on you guys to build that connection and help explain to me how you made that connection, and help explain to your peers how you made that connection. And then I think in doing so, you'll get the most out of this class. So essentially, right, we're going to have a couple tests in this class that are going to check in on your readings. We're going to have the timeline assignments. It's going to have you focus on how all of the ideas of social welfare evolution impact specific topics. And then you're going to choose real world articles and postings and things like that build that connection even stronger. So by the end of this, it's not going to be some idea of like pie in the sky theories and ideologies and stuff like that. Or you're not going to look at it like a history class where you're just having to regurgitate the information, but you're going to be explaining why the history matters to the reader, to yourself, to society, that kind of stuff. So I will end the video here. If you have questions about it, then please reach out to me. But hopefully this will all work smooth. And if for some reason, like I said, you can't see the group that you're in, reach out to me as well, because I may need to do a little bit of Blackboard tweaking. But with that said, I'm looking forward to those first posts at the end of week 4. Take care, guys.